I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
I knew it. I love when he does that.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Adrenaline in my soul, something, something, Cody Rhodes. Let it out again. I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. That's right.
Time. But let me go ahead and tell you.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 480 of the Hoots Podcast here on this Friday, August 29th, 2025. It's truly the nefarious one, the one and only Joshie Lopez, or a.k.a. Brother Adam. Welcome to the program, everybody. We are finally here. 20 more episodes left of the Hoots Podcast, and as we go through these last 5 months, what I want to do is, at least for the next couple weeks, or just towards this last 20 episodes, I would love to bring back some old colleagues of mine, people that were on the show, good brothers of the show, just people that I work with amongst this wrestling space, and I would like to give them the platform to come on here, and I just want to express my appreciation and gratitude for what they brought to the show and what they bring to the space. I'm even open to having interviews with people I've never had a conversation with before. It's starting to hit me now. Like, I feel it. The closure is coming in really fast, and not just because it's episode 480. I know this is coming soon, but yeah, man, this is coming to an end, and I feel it. And honestly, it's for the best. It is. I'm noticing now more than ever that it's becoming a grind just to press the record button when it comes to talking about wrestling at this point. I feel like I said on these past couple weeks episodes, it's just becoming more and more of a circle jerk of people just blurring out shit that they don't know anything about, and they're just projecting shit, and there's no fun to the stuff that's being produced. There's no authenticity. There's no substance to the conversations that are had, and it's a real shame, man. It really is. It's a shame to the fact that we I feel like us as a wrestling content space do more damage to the wrestling fans than said promotions that other podcasters hate. You know, that's just my opinion, but here we are. So we're gonna still have some fun while I can here these last 20 episodes, and I'll probably share some memories and stuff like that down memory lane. But don't worry. I know I teased a couple weeks ago that Matt McCool was going to come on the podcast. Matt will hopefully be on here on the pod next week. So the goal I want, like I said earlier, the goal I want to have before we say goodbye for the podcast is to bring in some of my friends that have been on the show over the years, and just have some fun conversations and reflect on what made this podcast special, I guess. Any project like this is worth keeping on to, and I've done my best to hold on to this for nearly a decade, almost a full decade, and I'm a man of my word, and I keep my promises. We are going to get to 500, and while there's a part of me that's sad that I won't be talking about wrestling anymore, another part of me is kind of open to kind of talking about other things. I'm going to keep the channel, not done podcasting after 500. It's just things are going to change. Who knows? I might keep the name of the podcast and we just keep doing what we're doing. But I am pulling myself away from the wrestling talk going forward. It's not doing anything for me. It's not pushing me further along in my career than I thought it would at this point, which is really sad. I don't know how much longer I can continue doing this at the current state of the wrestling content spaces. It's not conducive for good mental health. It's a very toxic space, and it's just not fun anymore. So I don't want that to take away from my goal of podcasting in general. I'm just gonna be talking about other stuff, So I got 5 months to figure out what I'm gonna do. Maybe I change the name of the show or whatever, but we're not getting rid of the feed. We're not getting rid of the channel. I'm just no longer discussing professional wrestling on my own anymore. I just can't. I can't do it anymore. I just want to keep it to my job, which is making the transfers, which is what I love doing. And that's what pays the bills. But as far as talking about wrestling, unless I was on somebody else's show on a panel or something like that, I just can't continue doing this. I just can't. It's not for me. And I just want to say thank you. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for sticking this out with us. I think all of us in life, we all need levity in certain situations, especially times where we're feeling depressed or unsure about things, unsure about the future and stuff like that. I deal with my own sense of depression, but my plight is dealing with self-doubt. A lot of times I've expressed this before on the podcast, where I'm my own worst enemy in the fact that I feel like I'm not good enough for anybody, and I'm not good enough for anything. I'm not good enough for anybody, and I deal with a lot of self-doubt. And people project their feelings onto you and their narratives about who you are as a human being, and a lot of people have opinions. Guess what? Everybody else has assholes too. What I'm trying to project here is just saying that nobody can say anything that I haven't already said to myself. So when you deal with self-doubt, it's kind of hard to be shooken by people looking down on you or talking shit behind your back or wherever the case is. And I'm not alone. I'm sure everybody deals with this too. But I'm owning the fact that I really do struggle with self-doubt, and it sucks. I hate it. I feel like I've been making progress towards the move. I don't know how much I'm making this month, but it's going to be a pretty decent amount. I should get back at least over 7,000 in my account starting September, which is nice. The number that I set out to hit before starting looking for apartments again was 9,000. Probably get there in October. This month we've made $430 for the podcast, which is pretty cool. Thank you guys for that, for the support. Thank you to Odyssey for having us. By the way, let me make some quick plugs out of the way so I don't forget. Make sure to follow me on X if you like at the Hoots Podcast, Instagram at Joshie Lopez Music. Please check out my transcripts at WrestlingHeadlines.com. I cover all corresponding WWE shows and NXT shows and their PLEs. I also just did AEW's Forbidden Door pay-per-view over the weekend, which I'll talk about in just a couple seconds. But to continue on here, I feel like I'm making a lot of progress, right? I feel like things are moving towards a momentum type of thing. I guess my self-doubt thing is more of a sense of where I'm at right now in my life. I just turned 31 about 3 months ago. And, this is really the prime time for me to really like figure out what is the next big thing for me. Like, I'm back in the position of where I was in 2016 when I left the WrestleZone, and I didn't know what was next. You know, being 22 years old and not knowing what to do next, and I'm back in that position again, and it sucks. You know. I thought I would be further along. I thought in my heart like I would either be doing something in the independent scene, like calling matches and stuff like that, or I would be, you know, in one of the radio stations being a producer or something. You know, I had a lot more goals and aspirations for myself, and it just sucks. I feel like I'm stuck in a lot of ways. And I'm a person that I have to accept the things that I'm good at and the things that I'm not. You know, like, a lot of people can say, oh, just do this, just do that. It's not compatible for everybody. I can't do certain things that other people can. And I had to admit that to myself. I struggle in a way with some mortaristic skills. I have my own struggles, but it's not something that I'm an incompetent or unable person to do certain things. It's just like I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at, and it's futile to be doing a job that you're not good at, B, your mental health's being affected, and C, the money ain't worth the shit. So when you're trying to find that big step, like, I know that being in entertainment and stuff like that is stuff that I had to do for my career because that's the stuff that I'm good at. I'm good at playing music. I'm good at recording podcasting. I'm good at doing transcripts. That's my strong suit. And that's the stuff that I had to do. I'm not going to be confined just like everybody else in my family over the years and just be content with the 9 to 5 and just call it a day. I have more wants for myself, and that's the struggle. I thought I would be further along at this point, and you know, I have to. The main thing that's keeping me positive is the fact that I trust God. I don't really come on here to talk about my religion as much. I do believe in God, and I am a spiritual person. Not overboard, but I am a spiritual person, and I believe in God, and it's one that's kept me whole and kept me positive through a lot of. I feel like I've been in a vortex of transition and transition and uncertainty for the last 3.5 years. And it's been really, really freaking frustrating, to say the least. Really frustrating. And that's why the move is so important to me. To start this next chapter in my life, to have something stable, and C, to get out of this vortex that I'm in. You know, I have other people in my family that think I have other reasons for my move and stuff, and it's probably one of the last reasons of why I want to make this move. And uncertainty is not fun. I'm not the only person that struggles with that. I don't know what the next big door is going to happen. I don't know what the next big door is going to open for me. Sure as hell not going to be asking for a handout. I'm not begging someone to open the door for me. I have to earn that. I have to kick that door down. So, whatever I can do to continue to be on my grind when it comes to the transfers to make sure they're the best that they can be and be consistent, that's what I got to hang my head on, and it's my work ethic and be consistent with what I put out. And all I know is my heart's in the right place. I know my talents, I know what I'm good at, and I know that I could do something big in my life, and I want to see through it, you know. I don't mean to get too sappy here this morning, but I'm in a really reflective state of mind, and it's becoming. There's a lot of things coming up right now in my life that's starting to hit me hard. Just realizing that this podcast is coming to an end. This move is coming sooner and sooner. My time in the city is coming to an end. So I'm wearing a lot of heavy, reflective emotions right now because obviously I'm not where I want to be. But it's like a mixed bag. Like, I'm close to where I want to be living-wise, but I'm not where I want to be professionally, you know? So that's the juggling act that I have to deal with. But I am proud of the stuff that I put out. This has been one of the more busier months that I've had in my transcript career in a while. Kind of reminds me of that time when I was at my first apartment in Leamington where I was doing almost 10 shows a week. Man, I remember this especially because it was during the pandemic, during 2021, and I was going crazy, man. Like, I had New Japan, TNA, NWA, what else I was doing? I was doing the ancillary AEW Dark shows, and Elevation. I think I did a couple of, I was doing NXT at the time, and then I was doing pay-per-views. I was doing the pay-per-view stuff for Wrestling Headlines at the time, and during that whole week, I got the opportunity to cover SummerSlam, right? Like, I wasn't, on, there was somebody else, I think his name was Mark Middleton, that was doing, the main WWE shows. He had something going on, so Calvin, the owner, reached out to me. He was like, hey, can you do SummerSlam? I was like, hell yeah, I can do it. So I was so crammed up with that day because there was a big-ass New Japan show that I did Saturday morning. I did SummerSlam, which was a super long show that they had at Allegiant Stadium. Mind you, this was before they did the 2-night events and stuff like that. So I did that, and then I was on a podcast thing with my guy Andrew Maidala for SNE. So we did a recap show for that show, and then this was all from that same weekend when I saw CM Punk make his return to wrestling. I remember it like it was yesterday, August 20th of 2021. Next day is Roman Reigns and John Cena. And then we had NXT TakeOver 36, which was Gunther and Tyler Bate. No, my bad. It was Gunther and Dragunov and Killer Cross and Samoa Joe, which was the NXT TakeOver special. Which I thought was pretty funny now looking back at it, because everybody's like, oh, we want Cross, we want Cross. And during that time, the IWC couldn't stand Cross. And they're like, oh, this is another guy that Triple H is going to shove down our throat. Here we are 4 years later, and people are feeling sorry for the freaking guy. And clamoring for him like he's Stone Cold Steve Austin. This freaking fan base just is something else, man. But I was doing almost 10 or 12 shows a week at the time. And then now this past week, all the way from SmackDown to Dublin through, I did Forbidden Door and NXT Heatwave this past Sunday. I did Raw on Monday from Birmingham, England, and then I did NXT on Tuesday, and then I did Evolve on Wednesday. It's a lot. I'm not complaining. This is what I want. I missed covering a lot of these shows, you know. So getting to do that, it's been a lot of fun. I'll be covering Clash of Paris on Sunday during the day. So make sure to check out my transcripts at WrestlingHeadlines.com. Like I just did Forbidden Door this past Sunday. almost 5 hours for that pay-per-view. I had at least 6,000 words for that article that I did on Sunday. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you sickos do it, man. 5-hour pay-per-views. I haven't done that in a very long time. Not even New Japan runs shows that are that long, unless it's like Wrestle Kingdom or something like that. They don't run shows that long. Just some matches that just don't have to be as long as they were. But a couple ones that did stood out to me, like Toni Storm and Athena, I enjoyed. I enjoyed the tag match until the finish, which saw Bandito and Brody King become the new AEW Tag Team Champions. I thought that match was fine. I liked the Clash of Styles for Nigel and Zack Sabre Jr. I thought there would be more crowd participation in that match, but I felt like I was listening to a match in a library. The crowd was very quiet for that one. What else? Okada and Swerve. Okay. Kind of a shoulder shrug type of thing for me. Kind of saw where that was going. That was a hit and miss for me. Okada's run in AEW just hasn't resembled anything that I saw from him in New Japan, you know. But Swerve's great, but that match kind of felt like it was just there. It's one of those things where they're the victim of a show just dragging along. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, it wasn't like the show was horrible. There was good matches. Hangman Page and MJF was fantastic. I mentioned Toni Storm and Athena already. The main event was... oh, my God, man. That main event, man, made me want to pull my freaking eyes out. Jon Moxley is still the drizzling shits. This is the first AEW show that I've covered in 2 years, and nothing has changed since. From the Jon Moxley, Death Riders, Blackpool Cuckold Club, whatever the hell they're called these days. Literally, this turned into a CZW fest, and let's just throw in Kenny Olivier and Ibushi and Tanahashi, who's literally can't walk at all, but we're gonna put him in a cage match and have him climb ladders and hey, if that's your boat and that's what you want to float it, man. It's just not for me, man. But I covered Forbidden Door. I enjoyed some things here and there, but all in all, this is one of those things where I put my job over my interest as a fan. See, a lot of people who do this speak too much from their fan perspective and not realizing that this is a job. You guys know, AEW is not my thing. It hasn't caught my attention. It still doesn't have an identity 6 years later. And instead of coming on Twitter and bitching about it, I covered the entire show. And guess what? I didn't put anything out during the thing. I didn't say anything. I didn't come out and tell people, "Oh, don't buy this pay-per-view. Oh, I want this company to die." It's just there. I have a job to do. Do I like the promotion? No. Do I think there's a lot of people there that are malcontents and assholes? Yes. But I have a job to do. And I did it. So, that was my thoughts on Forbidden Door and just some overall stuff off the top of my head. But that is the monologue this week. When we come back, we'll get to what happened this week in WWE. And then also make predictions for Clash in Paris. And then we'll answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session right here on episode 480 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. And when we come back after this clip here.
I am here with the failing and sad Katie Couric. Katie was once great. She's now broadcasting with a ring light on her phone, like everybody else. Used to be part of the mainstream media with failing MSDNC or NBC, whatever it is. And now you don't like me too much, Kate. You treat me terribly. What do you say to that? She can't even talk. Terrible. It's pathetic. No, but she's a beauty. Look at her. She's a beauty. I want to start kissing her. Bring it in, please.
Alright, we'll be right back. Yeet. Welcome back to the program, everybody. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. I guess we should start things off with the John Cena and Logan Paul segment for SmackDown this week. We got Clash of Paris coming up in just about 48 hours of this recording. And curious to see what happens tonight with SmackDown. SmackDown's in Lyon, France. Lyon. Now, it's Lyon, not with an S. Lyon, France. Brings back the memory because of that Backlash show last year was in France. They had that crazy crowd, and that's going to be pretty cool. SmackDown's there tonight. Looking forward to that. We'll be covering that show on the down low here for Wrestling Headlines a little later on today. And then get ready for Clash of Paris on Sunday, so looking forward to that. But John Cena and Logan Paul had their face-to-face confrontation on SmackDown this week. And Logan is like, when are you guys going to finally accept the fact that I'm here and I'm here to stay? And kind of flipping the script on John Cena. You know, everybody calls Logan Paul the part-timer, but Logan Paul is actually a full-timer, and John Cena is the one that's on his way out and is the part-timer. And Cena fired back and just basically riddled off a hurl of insults that you can find on a Wrestling Observer message board, saying that Logan Paul is using WWE for marketing opportunities and stuff like that. And Cena did mention the fact that he believes that Logan will be a future champion and a future WrestleMania main eventer and stuff like that. So I thought those kinds of balance in between. It wasn't a complete onslaught. But we all know how John Cena can get sometimes with these promo exchanges, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good segment. Cena dropped Logan with the AA at the end, and then towards the end of the show, we see Cena getting ready to leave the building. Nick Aldis comes up to me like, "Hey, John, I've heard from Brock Lesnar. Don't know where that's going." See if we get any updates with that tonight or on Sunday. I do have a feeling Brock Lesnar might show up on Sunday at Clash of Paris, so be on the lookout for that. Also, next Friday, SmackDown's here in Chicago. John Cena's last appearance in Chicago is coming up on September 5th. So get ready for that John Cena Brock Lesnar feud to start in Chicago on September 5th. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I've seen some of my colleagues be like, John Cena and Logan Paul doesn't do anything for me. When are we going to get done with this act? Every time there's a Logan Paul match, this Logan Paul match ain't going to do anything for me. And then Logan Paul ends up stealing the show. Like, can we put some respect on this man's name already? Like, god damn. So, we'll see what happens tonight. But I like the stuff there with John Cena and Logan Paul. Good shit there. We had Morrissey Machine Guns against Mellow Miz. Mellow Miz won that match. They'll be taking on the Street Profits tonight on SmackDown. That will determine the number one contenders for the tag team titles against the White Six. See where that goes. Sooner or later, Mel's going to turn on Miz, or one of them going to turn on the other. Their egos are too big to be a tag team. What else I wanted to mention really quick for SmackDown that stood out to me? Just give me 1 second, please. Por favor. Oh, Randy Orton dropping Drew McIntyre with the RKO was pretty nice on SmackDown last week. I like that a lot. Let's talk about NXT Heatwave. We'll do this in order. My takeaways from Heatwave was a very, very solid show from top to bottom. The triple threat with the ladies, Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, and Lola Vice. That opened the show was the triple threat number one contenders match, which Lola Vice won Very, very good match. Shout out to Lola for getting her victory there. Long overdue opportunity. Dark State are your new tag team champions, beating Hank and Tank. Ash by Elegance won and brought back the TNA Knockout title back to TNA, beating JC Jane and Masha Slamovich. The continued story of dissension between members of Fatal Influence continues, so that came to bite JC Jane in the butt. She's no longer the double champion, so that was fine. My favorite match from the show, one of my favorite matches from the show was Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe. Fantastic match. I saw Blake Monroe get her first singles victory on a PLE, so good to see that. And then we had the main event of Obafemi and Javon Evans for the NXT Championship. If you guys have not seen that match, go out of your way to check it out. One of the best NXT matches that I've covered so far this year. Really, really good stuff. Obafemi is the truth. And now we're getting ready for NXT No Mercy coming up on September 27th. It's going to be Obafemi putting his NXT title on the line against Ricky Saints. And then we got JC Jane putting her Women's Championship on the line against Lola Vice. All of that in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We got 3 pay-per-views in the month of September. And that makes me happy as well. So September's going to be a little busy as well for yours truly. So let's keep the train on the road, shall we? So overall, I thought NXT Heatwave was a success. We'll talk a little bit about Raw here from Birmingham, England. Started off the show at 2 o'clock Central Time. By the way, for those who are watching or listening to the podcast right now, this Monday's Raw will be airing at 2 p.m. Eastern, which will be 1 p.m. Central on Netflix. If you live anywhere else, figure it out for yourself. Raw will be in Paris for Monday Night Raw, so just wanted to throw that out there. Roman Reigns getting acknowledged by his faithful. They acknowledged their tribal chief, and we had a little promo segment with Roman and Bronson that turned into a pull-apart brawl. No harm, no foul there. Good stuff. Like the promo exchange with Nikki and Becky Lynch. Excited for their match at Clash in Paris. Shout out to JD McDonough and Dragon Lee. So I put over a couple of matches on Raw that I enjoyed. JD and Dragon Lee's match was very good. Penta and Kofi was decent. The crowd was kind of sitting on their hands, but I thought that match was fine. It wasn't bad or horrible. I thought it was a good match. Just mentioned the Becky and Nikki stuff. Rhea Ripley and Roxanne Perez, fantastic match. Rhea Ripley won. AJ Styles against Finn Balor. This was dropped in randomly during the show. It was fine. I wish it went a little longer, but AJ Styles and Finn Balor on a random Monday is pretty cool to see. And then LA Knight and Braun Breaker's main event was really good on Monday Night Raw as well. And yeah, so that's that. Let me take a look at the predictions. No, for Clash in Paris. I don't know what other matches are going to be announced for this pay-per-view coming up on Sunday. Maybe you see Randy Orton against Drew McIntyre. I could definitely see that. But let's check this out. Here we go. Here's my predictions for Clash of Paris. Start off with the good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. I'm going to go with Sheamus beating Rusev. From there, Becky Lynch against Nikki Bella for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I got Becky retaining over Nikki, which will be a good match. I got Roman Reigns beating Bronson Reed, but being viciously attacked by Braun Breaker after the match. So I got Roman Reigns winning, but he'll be taken out by Bronson, and he's going to be taken out by the Bronze after the match. Let's see. Fatal 4-Way Jones for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight all gunning after Seth Rollins' World Championship. Yes, I believe Seth Rollins will retain some way, somehow. Who takes the pin here? I think it's Jey Uso. Punk and LA Knight will isolate each other out for the match, and I think Rollins beats Jey Uso to retain. And then John Cena and Logan Paul. I got John Cena winning here, but don't be surprised if you see Brock Lesnar come out after the match as well. So, those are the matches so far that I see from Clash of Paris. But like I said earlier, don't be surprised if you see, you have Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre added to Clash of Paris, which I think would be pretty cool. Tonight on SmackDown, I got Sami Zayn against Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship. That's going on tonight. Along with that Street Profits Melodome Miz match. So be on the lookout for that. But that's pretty much it for this week in WWE. When we come back, we'll answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session right here on episode 480 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. Yeah. All right. One more segment to do here. Time to answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session right here on the podcast at Hoots. Time to see what you got for us this week. Let's give a shout out to the good brother Chris Zaletta at X Team Zaletta24X on the Swing Machine. Let's throw up the X for the good brother Chris. He says, "What up, Boost? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Best match from Forbidden Door." Yay. I'm stuck, man. I'm gonna go with Hangman and MJF. That's probably my favorite one from Forbidden Door. Favorite match from Heatwave, Obafemi and Javon Evans. Is there a future tag team with Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray? Possibly. I mean, I liked what I saw from both of them on NXT this week against the Calling. Kendall Gray is fantastic. I think she's, like I mentioned before, she's always been the standout for me from Evolve, and I think her ceiling is very high. She's all about her business in the ring and stuff like that, and I think that's going to carry her over for a long stretch of her career. But she's very good, and her and Ren will be an interesting tag team for sure. So, yeah, I think there's a future with them. But that's the thing. Do you have a future as a tag team in the women's division in NXT when there's no NXT women's tag team titles? That's the thing. Thoughts on the 3 recent WWE ID releases? I'm sorry, Chris. I'm kind of out of the loop when it comes to that stuff. This is me revealing myself that I don't read dirt sheets as much as I used to. I try to distance myself from that as much as I can. But whoever did get released, I wish them the best in their future and stuff like that. So, thoughts on Kofi Christian against FTR for All Out? I mean, that was pretty much a given. I mean, ever since Copeland showed up in AEW and knowing that there was going to be an AEW pay-per-view in Toronto, same building that they had FTR and Revival, it made sense that Christian and Copeland would fight FTR at the American Air. What do they call it now? My bad. The Scotia Bank Arena. I lose track of the names of all these arenas. It's changed like every couple of years. I think it was like one time it was the Air Canada Center. But yeah, Scotia Bank Arena. They're in Toronto. It makes sense that Edge and Christian would take on FTR at All Out. No harm, no foul. That'll be a good match. I won't be able to watch it because I'll be covering the WrestlePalooza pay-per-view, which will be the first one streaming on the new ESPN platform, so I'll be busy that night. The one team in the AFC and the one team in the NFC that will surprise people this season? Great question. Great question. Kind of stumping on that one. Like, every time we go to a football season, everybody's like, "Oh man, watch out for the Chargers! Watch out for the Chargers!" Like, I have to see it to believe it. Like every year, it's like, "Oh, watch out for the Chargers! They're sneaky contenders." For the AFC, I'll say You know what? I'll give a shout out to my guy Patrick Fritz. He's gonna be surprised when he hears this. I'll go with the New England Patriots to be a surprise team in the AFC, and then for the NFC, well, it sure as hell ain't gonna be the freaking Dallas Cowboys. Oh my God, what are you doing? Why would you trade your best player to the Packers? Oh my God, man. I saw that last night. I didn't do it like literally, but I had like a face palm like eternally seeing that news yesterday. Oh my God. NFC sneaker team. You know what? What about... I'm gonna go with the... this one's stumping me, man. Is it... damn, forget it. I can't pick an NFC one. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna come here and lie and fabricate an answer for you, Chris. Like, the NFC is like a crapshoot at this point. Anybody. Alright, that's my answer for the NFC. Anybody. What's worse in 2025? The Don Fallis family, the Mud Riders, or Bullet Club? The Mud Riders, and it's not close. Like, yes, Don Callis is on my TV way too much, but the Death Riders, the Horsemanor Riders, yeah, it's just the drizzling shits. So yeah, the Mud Riders. That's like, that's a lance shot. That's like a landslide, like discrepancy from bad. Like, ugh, they're terrible. All right, last question here. Which match are you looking forward to the most for Clash of Paris? Well, as always, when it comes to these pay-per-views, I have to look for two different perspectives. One from my work perspective, and then another one as a fan. From a work transcription standpoint, I'm excited for the Fatal 4-Way, but also as a fan, the one I'm looking forward to the most is John Cena and Logan Paul. So, I want to thank Chris for the great questions this week. As always, if you want to participate in the Back Porch Q&A session, all you have to do is hit me up on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. Make sure to follow me up on X at the Hoots Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Joshie Lopez Music. Make sure to follow all my transcripts and stuff like that on WrestlingHeadlines.com, as I will be covering Clash of Paris this Sunday. And don't forget, the Hoots Podcast, the new home for the Hoots Podcast is Odyssey, but you also get the podcast from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anywhere, but if you want to check us out on YouTube as well, it's make sure to follow/subscribe to the podcast on YouTube at the Hoots Podcast. On the road to 1,000 subscribers on that front. And that's pretty much it. I want to let you guys know, it's always be the authentic product that is yourself. Remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of August, and enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and enjoy Clash of Paris. August is now done. By the way, congratulations to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on their engagement. And that's pretty much it. So, the countdown to episode 500 continues. We just concluded episode 480. We have now from 20 down to 19. We'll be here next week to recap Clash of Paris and all that fun stuff next week on the podcast The Hoots. Love y'all. Yeet.
Bye-bye, bitch.